Hello and welcome to The Waves 90th anniversary performance. My name is Susanna Stevenson and I'm the Artistic Director for Charleston Festival and Literary Programmes. The Waves is Virginia Woolf's most poetic and most experimental novel, and in it you hear the interweaving voices of 6 intimate childhood friends telling a shared story. Their story, plus extracts from Virginia Woolf's diaries, is brought to life today by Harriet Walter and Vera Chalk. Their words are married with a musical score performed by Joanna McGregor and a string quartet from the Brighton Philharmonic Orchestra. You'll hear the music that inspired Virginia Woolf in her writing, and also a newly composed piece, especially for the occasion, by Joanna McGregor. Berwick Church is a very special place. It is best known for the extensive murals that line its walls, done by Duncan Grant, Vanessa Bell, and her son Quentin Bell. It's also uniquely relevant to the themes of today's performance, since it is known that Vanessa Bell used these works as a way of working out her grief for the death of her son, Julian. In writing the script for today's performance, I've allowed it to be shaped by the depictions of grief, family, joy, and life everlasting that line the church's walls, and which have recently enjoyed an extensive renovation. I'd like to thank our partners for today's performance. So to the Brighton Philharmonic Orchestra and to the Church of St Michael and All Angels, Berwick, thank you. And especially to Joanna McGregor and Peter Blee. We're looking forward to reopening Charleston on the 19th of May, in line with the easing of government lockdown restrictions. And we're hugely grateful to everyone who has allowed us to make it through the last year of uncertainty and numerous challenges. But before we kick off a season of in-person events and reopen our closed doors, I hope you enjoy this series of online events, the Charleston Festival Edit. Thank you for joining me today, and now please enjoy The Waves.
The sun had not yet risen. The sea was indistinguishable from the sky, except that the sea was slightly creased, as if a cloth had wrinkles in it. Gradually, as the sky whitened, a dark line lay on the horizon, dividing the sea from the sky, and the grey cloth became barred, with thick strokes moving one after another beneath the surface, following each other, pursuing each other, perpetually.
As they neared the shore, each bar rose, heaped itself, broke and swept a thin veil of white water across the sand. The wave paused, and then drew out again, sighing like a sleeper whose breath comes and goes unconsciously. Gradually, the dark bar on the horizon became clear, as if the sediment in an old wine bottle had sunk and left the glass green. Behind it, too, the sky cleared as if the white sediment there had sunk, or as if the arm of a woman couched beneath the horizon had raised a lamp. And flat bars of white, green, and yellow spread across the sky like the blades of a fan.
Then she raised her lamp higher, and the air seemed to become fibrous and to tear away from the green surface, flickering and flaming in red and yellow fibers, like the smoky fire that roars from a bonfire. Gradually, the fibers of the burning bonfire were fused into one haze, one incandescence, which lifted the weight of the woolen grey sky on top of it and turned it to a million atoms of soft blue. The surface of the sea slowly became transparent and lay rippling and sparkling until the dark stripes were almost rubbed out. Slowly, the arm that held the lamp raised it higher and then higher until a broad flame became visible. An arc of fire burnt on the rim of the horizon, and all around it the sea blazed gold.
Saturday, the 18th of June, 1927. Slowly, ideas begin trickling in, and then suddenly I rhapsodized. The night Elle dined with the apostles, and told over the story of the moths, which I think I will write very quickly, perhaps in between chapters of that long impending book on fiction. Now the moths will, I think, fill out the skeleton which I dashed in here. The play poem idea. The idea of some continuous stream, not solely of human thought, but of the ship, the night, etc., all flowing together, intersected by the arrival of the bright moths. But it needs ripening. I do a little work on it in the evening, when the gramophone is playing late sonatas.
I see a ring, said Bernard, hanging above me. It quivers and hangs in a loop of light.
I see a slab of pale yellow, said Susan, spreading away until it meets a purple stripe.
I hear a sound, said Rhoda. Cheep, chirp, going up and down.
I see a globe, said Neville, hanging down in a drop against the enormous flanks of some hill.
I see a crimson tassel, said Ginny, twisted with gold threads.
I hear something stamping, said Lewis. A great beast's foot is chained. It stamps and stamps and stamps.
I love, said Susan, and I hate. I desire one thing only. My eyes are hard. Ginny's eyes break into 1,000 lights. Rhoda's are like those pale flowers to which moths come in the evening. Yours grow full and brim and never break. But I am already set on my pursuit. I see insects in the grass. Though my mother still knits white socks for me and hems pinafores, and I am a child, I love and I hate.
But when we sit together, close, said Bernard, we melt into each other with phrases. We are edged with mist. We make an unsubstantial territory.
Tuesday, the 28th of May, 1929. I'm not trying to tell a story, yet perhaps it might be done in that way. A mind thinking. They might be islands of light, islands in the stream that I'm trying to convey, life itself going on.
This is my first night at school, said Susan, away from my father, away from my home. My eyes swell. My eyes prick with tears. All here is false, all is meretricious. Rhoda and Ginny sit far off in brown serge.
There are desks with wells for the ink, said Rhoda. We shall write our exercises in ink here. But here I am nobody, I have no face. This great company, all dressed in brown serge, has robbed me of my identity.
Now we move out of this cool temple into the yellow playing field, said Lewis, and, as it is a half holiday, the Duke's birthday, we will settle among the long grasses while they play cricket. Look now, how everybody follows Percival. He is heavy. He walks clumsily down the field, through the long grass, to where the great elm trees stand. His magnificence is that of some medieval commander.
And now, said Neville, let Bernard begin. Let him burble on, telling us stories while we lie recumbent. Let him describe what we have all seen so that it becomes a sequence. Bernard says there is always a story. I am a story, Lewis is a story. Let him burble on with his story while I lie back and regard the stiff-legged figures of the padded batsmen through the trembling grasses.
The sun, risen, no longer couched on a green mattress, darting a fitful glance through watery jewels, bared its face and looked straight over the waves. They fell with a regular thud. They fell with the concussion of horses' hooves on the turf. Their spray rose like the tossing of lances and assegais over the riders' heads. They swept the beach with steel blue and diamond-tipped water. They drew in and out with the energy, the muscularity of an engine which sweeps its force out and in again.
I, Bernard, have been traversing the sunless territory of non-identity. Now I'm drawn back by pricking sensations, by curiosity, greed. I am hungry, and the irresistible desire to be myself. I think of people to whom I could say things. Lewis, Neville, Susan, Ginny and Rhoda. With them I am many-sided. They retrieve me from darkness. We shall meet tonight, thank heaven. We shall dine together. We shall say goodbye to Percival, who goes to India.
The swing door goes on opening, said Rhoda. Strangers keep on coming. People we shall never see again. People who brush us disagreeably with their familiarity, their indifference, and the sense of a world continuing without us. Every time the door opens, Neville looks fixedly at the table. He dare not raise his eyes, then looks for 1 second and says, "He has not come." But here he is.
Now, said Neville, my tree flowers, my heart rises, all oppression is relieved, all impediment is removed, the reign of chaos is over. He has imposed order, knives cut again.
Here is Percival, said Ginny. He has not dressed.
Here is Percival, said Bernard. He is a hero. Oh, yes, that is not to be denied. And when he takes his seat by Susan, whom he loves, the occasion is crowned. Sitting together here, we love each other and believe in our own endurance.
Now let us issue from the darkness of solitude, said Lewis.
Now let us say brutally and directly what is in our minds, said Neville. Our isolation, our preparation is over.
Old Mrs. Constable lifted her sponge, and warmth poured over us, said Bernard. We became clothed in this changing, this feeling garment of flesh.
The boot boy made love to the scullery maid in the kitchen garden, said Susan, among the blown-out washing.
The tiger leapt, and the swallow dipped her wings in dark pools on the other side of the world, said Rhoda.
But here and now we are together, said Bernard. We have come together at a particular time, to this particular spot. We are drawn into this communion by some deep, some common emotion. Shall we call it conveniently love? Shall we say love of Percival, because Percival is going to India? We have proved, sitting eating, sitting talking, that we can add to the treasury of moments. We are not slaves bound to suffer incessantly unrecorded petty blows on our bent backs. We are not sheep either, following a master. We are creators. We too have made something that will join the innumerable congregations of past time.
The waves broke and spread their waters swiftly over the shore. One after another they massed themselves and fell. The spray tossed itself back with the energy of their fall. The waves were steeped deep blue, save for a pattern of diamond-pointed light on their backs, which rippled as the backs of great horses ripple with muscles as they move. The waves fell, withdrew, and fell again, like the thud of a great beast stamping.
"He is dead," said Neville. "He fell. His horse tripped. He was thrown. The sails of the world have swung round and caught me on the head. All is over. The lights of the world have gone out. There stands the tree, which I cannot pass. Women shuffle past the window as if there were no gulf cut in the street, no tree with stiff leaves which we cannot pass. Why try to lift my foot and mount the stair? This is where I stand, here, holding the telegram. The past, summer days and rooms where we sat, stream away like burnt paper with red eyes in it. Why meet and resume? Why talk and eat and make up other combinations with other people? From this moment I am solitary. No one will know me now.
There is the puddle, said Rhoda, and I cannot cross it. I hear the rush of the great grindstone within an inch of my head. Its wind roars in my face. All palpable forms of life have failed me. Unless I can stretch and touch something hard, I shall be blown down the eternal corridors forever. What, then, can I touch? What brick? What stone? And so draw myself across the enormous gulf into my body safely. Percival, by his death, has made me this present, has revealed this terror, has left me to undergo this humiliation. Faces and faces served out like soup plates by scullions, coarse, greedy, casual, looking in at shop windows with pendant parcels, ogling, brushing, destroying everything, leaving even our love impure, touched now by their dirty fingers.
Sunday, the 26th of January, 1930. Sometimes I'm out of touch, but go on. Then again feel that I have at last, by violent measures like breaking through gorse, set my hands on something central. Perhaps I can now say something quite straight out and at length, and need not be casting a line to make my book the right shape. But how to pull it all together, how to compost it, press it into one, I do not know. Nor can I guess the end. It might be a gigantic conversation. The interludes are very difficult, yet I think essential, so as to bridge and also give a background. The sea, insensitive nature, I don't know. But I think when I feel this sudden directness, that it must be right.
Percival has died. He died in Egypt. He died in Greece, all deaths a one death. Susan has children. Neville mounts rapidly to the conspicuous heights. Life passes. The clouds change perpetually over our houses. I, Lewis, do this, do that, and again do this and then that. Meeting and parting, we assemble different forms, make different patterns. But if I do not nail these impressions to the board, and out of the many men in me make one, then I shall fall like snow and be wasted.
The sun had now sunk lower in the sky. The islands of cloud had gained in density and drew themselves across the sun, so that the rocks went suddenly black, and the trembling sea wholly lost its blue and turned silver, and shadows were blown like grey cloths over the sea. The waves no longer visited the further pools or reached the dotted black line which lay irregularly upon the beach. The sand was pearl white, smoothed and shining. Birds swooped and circled high up in the air. Some raced in the furrows of the wind and turned and sliced through them as if they were one body cut into 1,000 shreds.
In this hot afternoon, said Susan, here in this garden, here in this field where I walk with my son, I have reached the summit of my desires. I have had peaceful, productive years. I possess all I see. I have grown trees from the seed. I have made ponds in which goldfish hide under the broad-leaved lilies. I have netted over strawberry beds and lettuce beds, and stitched the pears and the plums into white bags to keep them safe from the wasps. I have seen my sons and daughters, once netted over like fruit in their cots, break the meshes and walk with me, taller than I am, casting shadows on the grass. I think sometimes of Percival, who loved me. He rode and fell in India. But for the most part, I walk content with my sons.
Here I stand, said Ginny, in the tube station where everything that is desirable meets. Piccadilly South Side, Piccadilly North Side, Regent Street, and the Haymarket. I stand for a moment under the pavement in the heart of London. Innumerable wheels rush and feet press just over my head. I am in the heart of life. But look, there is my body in that looking glass. How solitary, how shrunk, how aged. I am no longer young. I am no longer part of the procession. Millions descend those stairs in a terrible descent. Great wheels churn inexorably, urging them downwards. Millions have died. Percival died. I still move. I still live.
Hampton Court, said Bernard. This is our meeting place. There at the door by the inn, they are already standing. Susan, Lewis, Rhoda, Ginny and Neville. In a moment, when I have joined them, another arrangement will form, another pattern.
Now, sitting side by side, said Neville, at this narrow table, now, before the first emotion is worn smooth, what do we feel? Sorrow. The door will not open, he will not come. And we are laden. Being now all of us middle-aged, loads are on us. Let us put down our loads. What have you made of life, we ask, and I? You, Bernard, you, Susan, you, Ginny, and Rhoda and Lewis.
Drop upon drop, said Bernard. Silence falls. We have dined well. The fish, the veal cutlets, the wine have blunted the sharp tooth of egotism. Anxiety is at rest.
In this silence, said Susan, it seems as if no leaf would ever fall or bird fly.
As if the miracle had happened, said Ginny, and life was stayed here and now.
And, said Rhoda, we had no more to live.
I grasp, I hold fast, said Susan. I hold firmly to this hand, anyone's, with love, with hatred, it does not matter which.
The still mood, the disembodied mood is on us, said Rhoda, and we enjoy this momentary alleviation when the walls of the mind become transparent.
The flower, said Bernard, the red carnation that stood in the vase on the table of the restaurant when we dined together with Percival, is become a six-sided flower, made of 6 lives.
A mysterious illumination, said Lewis, visible against those yew trees.
Built up with much pain, many strokes, said Ginny.
Marriage, death, travel, friendship, said Bernard, town and country, children and all that. A many-sided substance cut out of this dark, a many-faceted flower. Let us stop for a moment. Let us behold what we have made. Let it blaze against the yew trees. One life.
We 6, out of how many millions, for one moment out of what measureless abundance of past time and time to come, burnt there, triumphant. The moment was all, the moment was enough. Now the sun had sunk. Sky and sea were indistinguishable. The waves breaking spread their white fans far out over the shore, sent white shadows into the recesses of sonorous caves, and then rolled back, sighing over the shingle.
Saturday the 20th of December, 1930. It occurred to me last night while listening to a Beethoven quartet that I would merge all the interjected passages into Bernard's final speech and end with the words, "O solitude," thus making him absorb all those scenes and having no further break.
I rose and walked away. I I, not Byron, Shelley, Dostoevsky, but I, Bernard. I even repeated my own name once or twice. I went, swinging my stick, into a shop and bought a picture of Beethoven in a silver frame. Not that I love music, but because the whole of life, its masters, its adventurers, then appeared in long ranks of magnificent human beings behind me. And I was the inheritor, I, the continuer, I, the person miraculously appointed to carry it on.
The crystal, the globe of life, as one calls it, far from being hard and cold to the touch, has walls of thinnest air. If I press them, all will burst. Whatever sentence I extract, whole and entire, from this cauldron is only a string of 6 little fish that let themselves be caught while a million others leap and sizzle, making the cauldron bubble like boiling silver and slip through my fingers. Faces recur, faces and faces. They press their beauty to the walls of my bubble. Neville, Susan, Lewis, Ginny, Rhoda, and 1,000 others. How impossible to order them rightly, to detach one separately, or to give the effect of the whole, again like music. What a symphony, with its concord and its discord, and its tunes on top and its complicated bass beneath, then grew up. Each played his own tune, fiddle, flute, trumpet, drum, or whatever the instrument might be. Friday, the 17th of July, 1931. Yes, this morning I think I may say I have finished. That is to say, I have once more, for the 18th time, copied out the opening sentences. L will read it tomorrow, and I shall open this book to record his verdict. My own opinion, oh dear, it's a difficult book. I don't know that I've ever felt so strained, and I'm nervous, and it may be a failure, and I can't do any more. Anyhow, I had a shot at my vision, and if it's not a catch, it's a cast in the right direction.
There is a sense of the break of day. I will not call it dawn. What is dawn in the city to an elderly man standing in the street, looking up rather dizzily at the sky? Dawn is some sort of whitening of the sky, some sort of renewal. Another day, another Friday, another 20th of March, January or September. Yes, this is the eternal renewal, the incessant rise and fall and rise again.
And in me too the wave rises. It swells, it arches its back. I am aware once more of a new desire, something rising beneath me, like the proud horse whose rider first spurs and then pulls him back. What enemy do we now perceive advancing against us, you whom I ride now, as we stand pawing this stretch of pavement? It is death. Death is the enemy. It is death against whom I ride with my spear couched and my hair flying back like a young man's, like Percival's when he galloped in India. I strike spurs into my horse. Against you I will fling myself, unvanquished and unyielding, O death.
The waves broke on the shore.